Hey everybody, thanks so much for clicking on this video. An official Happy New Year. The first two vlogs that you all saw this year were pre-recorded. So this is the actual first real vlog that I'm recording of the new year. I hope that everyone had a fantastic holiday season and is getting their year started off right. So this vlog is going to have a little bit of everything. I'm going to do a story time about Deuce and Janelle's births. I'm going to do kind of a Q&A of some questions that I have been asked. And then also just some feelings and concerns with everything that's going on right now. So I'm going to start off with story time with their births. So Deuce was born at 38 weeks. And I ended up getting diagnosed with him with what's called IUGR, which is intrauterine growth restriction. So I had an ultrasound, I can't remember what week, but it was some weeks before I had him. And they basically told me the Deuce was on the small end. And typically when babies stop growing or they're small, they are afraid that either the placenta or the umbilical cord is about to give out. So my doctor wanted to get me to 38 weeks, and then she wanted to induce me because she felt that he would do better on the outside with regards to gaining weight. So he was born on January 5th, and I went into the hospital. Technically, it was the 4th. They told us that the day before. They told us to get there the evening of the 4th at like 10 o'clock. And, we would have a room. They would have a room ready for me and all of that stuff. There was like a lot of deliveries and stuff that night before. So we ended up sitting in the lobby until like midnight for a room to be available. And they did the induction process. With me, I had what's called the Cook's balloon, which is basically a catheter that they fill up with saline that they put inside of you to make you dilate. I had that in. Once that came out, I got to 5 centimeters, and then they started Pitocin. So I was perfectly fine with regards to pain and stuff like that all throughout this process. Now, the catheter, it did hurt to get in, but I was fine other than that. So then once they took the balloon out, and like I said, they started the Pitocin, they're like, okay, we're going to break your water now. They broke my water. After that, all hell broke loose. I started getting sweats. The contractions was coming back to back. It was a mess. So I went in with the intention, if you all don't know, I do not like needles. Don't get me wrong. No one is going into a hospital or anything talking about, yay, I like needles. No, but I am petrified of them. It is a process for me to get blood drawn, for me to get IVs, for me to get any type of shot or anything like that. It's a process with me. Yes, I know how old I am. Yes, I have been like this for forever. So I went in with the mindset that I was not going to get an epidural because the thought of that long needle going in my back terrified me. So, but it got so bad, the pain got so bad, I was like, I don't care what I said. I want drugs, and I want drugs now. So, they were like, okay, we're going to call the anesthesiologist for you and get someone in. So contractions are coming back to back. Now, going back a little bit, my doctor told me that inductions take a while. So she told us to be prepared to be in labor for at least 48 to 72 hours, especially since I wasn't dilated to anything. And then once I got to that 5 centimeters, the nurses and stuff were like, well, don't get discouraged if you get stuck for a while. Most people, once they get to 5, they get stuck and this, that, and the other. So we're thinking we're not going to have a baby on the 5th. So Jeremy had doctor's appointments that were set up. Jeremy's a vet. All of his health care is through the Veterans Administration. So it takes a while for him to get doctor's appointments. I'm like, well, nothing's going on. This is when he left earlier that day. I'm like, nothing's going on. It's cool. Go to your appointments because it'll be months and months and months before you can get these appointments again. Plus, I had a lot of support that were coming in and out of the hospital. So he gets back. Man, I'm flipping back and forth like a fish out of water. I'm sweating. You know, it's the middle of winter, so he put his cold hands on me. I was like, oh, thank God. Thank you. Because I felt like I was burning up. And that's when I said, you know, enough is enough. I want an epidural. So anesthesiologist comes, kicks everybody out of the room. It's my godmother, my god sister, one of my good friends, and Jeremy. They kick all of them out. They say she's about to get her epidural. You all can come back in about 30 minutes. So I'm hunched over, you know, with the pillow. The nurse is in front of me, and I start grunting. And she said, "Are you pushing?" I said, "No." I said, "I think I just have to go to the bathroom." She said, "Okay." So, you know, anesthesiologist got the little thing draped on my back and all of that stuff or whatever. And I grunt again. She said, She said, "I think you trying to push." She said, "Hold on one second." She told the anesthesiologist to stop. So she leans me back on the bed, and Deuce's head is sitting right there. So I promise you, they got some type of SWAT team button. It's like she hit a button and it just alerted the troops. Next thing you know, it's 50 million people in my room. They breaking the room down for the delivery and all of that stuff. I'm panicking because they told Jeremy to come back in 30 minutes. So I don't know whether he done went to the cafeteria. I don't know whether he done went outside to make phone calls and all of that. I just don't know where he at. So I'm yelling, "Find my husband." They're like, okay, we gonna find him. Luckily, he was just in the waiting room that's like right outside the doors. So they go find him. He comes running in the room. You hear him yelling in the hallway, "What you mean she finna had a baby? She's supposed to just be getting an epidural." So we call Deuce our Doritos baby. I'm going to see if I can find a clip one day. I might be able to add it at the end of this. But it's a commercial where she sneezes like super quick because she wants Doritos or something like that. It goes something like that. But it was an express delivery. I don't think I pushed even 5 minutes with him, and he came out. He was born, like I said, January 5th, 2017, and he was 5 pounds, 12 ounces. Still small, but he was way bigger than they thought he was. They were prepared to put him in the NICU and all of that stuff. They thought he was going to be under 5 pounds. Those ounces do make a difference. So I'm so grateful that he came out the size that he was. He was still a little peanut, but he did come out at a good size, didn't have to go into the NICU. Came out very happy and healthy. And although small, they said nothing was wrong with my umbilical cord, nothing was wrong with my placenta, so all was well.
And there's your beautiful baby.
Any day now.
Really? You're eating Doritos? He's eating Doritos on my ultrasound. Do you see what I have to do?
I know.
Give me that.
Now, with Miss Janelle, my firecracker. I love my baby. She was also born at 38 weeks. I don't care what nobody says, and you all can go back and look at the vlog for her. I did a little bit of a birth vlog with her. I was in labor for 5 days. I don't care what nobody say, it was 5 days. She was born on a Friday. So Monday, I got up as usual, getting ready for work. and I started having contractions, and they were pretty consistent. And my back was hurting really bad, and I just did not feel good at all. So we went to the hospital. Well, first we dropped Deuce off at daycare, and then I went to work to let them know that I was starting maternity leave. And then we went to the hospital. So we get to the hospital. They're like, "Oh, you're only dilated 2 centimeters, but we don't like how the baby looks. She's not moving around the way that we want her to. So we're gonna go ahead and admit you and get things started, and we'll induce you to go ahead and get her out." So I'm like, okay. So I got the mindset that I'm about to get ready to get admitted and all of that stuff. They come in maybe like 10 or 15 minutes later. At this point, me and Jeremy are starting to call. I'm calling my dad and my brother. He's calling his parents and all of that stuff. I'm calling my doula, all of that. So they come in like 10 or 15 minutes later, and they're like, "Oh, never mind. She's moving really good now. You can just go home. We wouldn't be surprised if you come back tonight, but yeah, you can just go ahead and go home." So first I'm mad because I'm like, all right, I'm in the mindset that this is it. We about to get this show on the road. And then two, you tell me I'm going to come back that night. So I'm like, why charge me for 2 admissions? But that's a whole nother thing on the healthcare side. So nothing happens that night. And like I said, I was 2 centimeters. That Tuesday, nothing really goes on. I go walking in the mall with my dad just to get some exercise and stuff like that. And then we went to go get something to eat. And I ate like everything hot, hoping that that it would do something. Still nothing. That Wednesday was my regular weekly appointment, because at that point I'm going to see the doctor weekly. She says, "Oh, you're 3 centimeters. Still can't send you to the hospital. They're not going to admit you yet." At this point, I'm miserable. I'm like, put me out of my misery. This is too much. Thursday comes. I'm starting to have like occasional contractions throughout the day. That evening, I fix dinner. I get everybody situated. Everybody goes to bed. All that night, I was up the entire night because I'm starting to have contractions. I'm uncomfortable. And then I'm losing my mucus plug every time I go to the bathroom. So I'm on maternity leave at this point. Jeremy is still going to work until we actually have a baby. And his alarm goes off for him to go to work. I'm like, bruh, you ain't going to work today. I'm like, if they don't admit me, I'm finna roll on this floor so that they can admit me. So we dropped Deuce off to his mother's house, my mother-in-law, and we head to the hospital. We get in the triage. They say you're 4 centimeters. No, they said you're 5, and we can go ahead and admit you. Thank you, God. So we get into our room. We get settled. We call everybody, let everybody know this is actually it. I'm admitted. I got bands on my wrist. I got an IV, all of this stuff or whatever. So that morning, early afternoon, I was having contractions. They weren't like completely terrible, but they were picking up. So then it gets kind of going into late afternoon, and I'm still 5 centimeters. I haven't moved, changed, or anything at all. So the nurse is like, that. Well, the nurse and the doctor was like, well, you haven't progressed any, so we're going to go ahead and give you some Pitocin to make things move a little bit faster. So at this point, I'm rolling my eyes because I know what Pitocin does. I had it reduced. It had me going through. So I'm like, ugh, whatever, do what you got to do. So come to find out, I guess it was like a placebo effect. They hooked up they put the Pitocin on the IV rack and all of that stuff, but it was capped off. They never uncapped it for it to run into my IV. So I guess I just needed the placebo effect because I never received it. So I went from 5 to 8 in like a matter of 30 minutes or so. So then I'm going through agony. I know it's close or whatever. At this point, I know what it feels like to be right there and all of that stuff. It feels like you got to take a crap or whatever. So I'm telling the nurse, I'm like, man, I'm feeling all this pressure. I think it's about time to push. She's, no, but we just checked you, uh, and you were just at 8 centimeters, and we don't want to keep checking you because that typically can cause infection if we keep checking you and this, that, and the other. So then I go off like I'm in one of these movies. I'm like, look, I'm like, unless you want a baby on the floor, I advise you to go get the doctor and let him check me again. Doctor comes and checks me. Guess what? It's time for me to push. Janelle came out so fast. She wasn't as fast as the pushing was as fast as the Doritos commercial. I literally pushed her out in like 3 pushes. I was ready to get that girl out. I'm like, let's go get her out. So she was born March 6th, and she weighed 7 pounds 6 ounces, and you can hear her fussing in the background because she doesn't. She's in her room right now so that I can vlog, and she's not happy about it. But she came out happy and healthy, and all is well with her. Okay, I'm laying down now somewhat laying down because my back is starting to hurt. So, one thing I forgot to mention, like I said, Janelle was born on March 6th. She was born literally 2 weeks before the world completely shut down because of COVID. Now, I was very fortunate and lucky that there were no visitor restrictions at the time. I was able to have the hospital that I go to. Typically, you're allowed 6 visitors to visit you at on the labor and delivery wing, and out of that 6, 3 can be in the room at one time. So I was very fortunate that there weren't any visitor restrictions, but they were starting to ask those COVID questions. Do you have a cough? Do you have a runny nose? Do you have a fever? The beginnings of what they knew about COVID. And at the time, I had a cold when I went into labor with Janelle. So, not knowing how bad COVID is and all of that stuff, which you want to be honest and upfront anyway. I said, yeah, I got a runny nose and I got a cough. They were like, oh, well, we're going to have to test you for the flu. We're going to have to test you for COVID. So I'm in the middle of having a contraction in triage, and the lady comes in there with the swab. I'm like, can you give me a second? I'm in the middle of having a contraction. No, no, no. We need to hurry up and get this done. This needs to be done as soon as possible. So she shoves that thing up my nose while I'm in the middle of having a contraction. This is why I'm petrified of getting COVID tests. I have literally only had, thank you, Jesus, I haven't had that many exposures or anything like that. I've only had 2 COVID tests since the beginning of this. One was while I was in labor with Janelle. The other one was when we were getting ready to go on Carnival Vista. And I'm so grateful I was able to do that one myself because they shoved that thing. If you all have had a COVID test, they shoved that thing up your soul. So I forgot to throw that in. But yeah, we were one of the last ones that actually had visitors, and we were allowed visitors and all of that stuff. But yeah, I got a dose of the COVID test before everybody really knew about it. So, some of the questions that I have been asked since I have told people that I am pregnant. Am I excited? I'm excited now. When I first found out that I was pregnant, it was a lot of mixed emotions. And I'm going to tell you why. With Deuce and Janelle, not saying that everything has to be planned, but with Deuce, it was a planned pregnancy. With Janelle, we were at the stage where we were like, okay, if we have a baby, we have a baby. It'll happen when it happens. We weren't like actively trying, but, we felt comfortable that we would, we were ready and comfortable for a second baby, that if it happened, we were ready. With this one now, Deuce and Janelle are 3 years and 2 months apart. I like their gap because Deuce was getting to that point where he was a little bit independent and he was able to be a little self-sufficient. So my first reaction was, um, I was nervous because Janelle's not even 2 yet. So we never made a concrete decision of whether we were going to have a third one. And we said that if we were going to wait until after Janelle turned 2. So I'm like, oh my God, these kids is going to be so close together. What am I going to do, Jesus? I'm not ready for this. I was going through it. Then on top of that, if you all look at the date that was in my vlog, I took that test on October 28th, I believe. We were in the accident on November 2nd, days later. So the trauma of being in an accident, while pregnant was just a whole level of stress on me. And I couldn't talk to you all about it because it was so soon and so early that it was too soon to talk about it. But the hospital I went to was trash. That we got taken to through the ambulance. They didn't do an ultrasound or anything like that. They were like, you're too soon. You're too early to be getting any type of ultrasound. You'll basically just have to wait a few weeks, and you need to follow up with your own doctor with regards to that. Excuse my language. I call bullshit. I was, I think, like 5 weeks at the time, and I had an ultrasound around that time. Yeah, you can't see a baby, but you can see that the sac is developed, developing and all of that stuff. That hospital just didn't want to do any work. So I'm thankful that I have a very active and proactive OB. I messaged her as soon as possible and let her know what was going on. And, she had me start, at this point I was already in contact with her with the blood work, but she really went into action on making sure that I was scheduled for an ultrasound and scheduled with an appointment with her colleague as soon as possible. And then even this last appointment that I had in December, she brought the little small ultrasound machine in the exam room, and she gave me another one just to keep giving me that reassurance that everything is okay. So I was a nervous wreck for the first few weeks. So I was not excited because I was worried. I was nervous about having another kid so soon. It was just a lot of emotions. I'm excited now, though. Another question I have gotten, are we still going on our cruise in March? I don't know. There's a number of factors going on. It's not that I'm not used to being on a ship pregnant, because we went on the Magic. Was it the Magic? Yep, the Magic in November of 2019, and I was pregnant with Janelle. So I was tired. I wasn't the party animal that I normally am, but I know how to be on a ship while pregnant. The factors this go round is this dang on Omicron or Marion, whatever you want, Oyoyan, whatever, variant is out of control. I have lost count of how many people that I personally know that have recently had COVID. You're hearing nonstop stories about people, the ships now having tons of cases, or people being diagnosed as soon as they, testing positive as soon as they get home. So I'm just really paranoid about that. Another factor is that we haven't even been approved for an exemption yet. Anybody that's unvaccinated, you have to be approved for an exemption. Janelle is under the age for vaccination, so she cannot be vaccinated. So I had to file for an exemption for her. And Deuce, the plan is to have him vaccinated before the time comes around for the cruise. But from what I've heard, I'm in a carnival group for kids on Facebook, that they're not giving these exemptions until like a week or two before the cruise. I don't operate like that. There's no way that I can wait until 2 weeks before to find out whether we're going on vacation or not. I just don't flow like that. So that's another factor. Another factor is, which has always been a rule of Carnival's, even long before COVID, I have to get a letter of approval from my OB saying that she's giving me permission to be on a cruise and be out of the country international. When I was pregnant with Janelle, she didn't have any problem. She was like, just make sure that you you can take some seasickness patches with you, in case you get sick. This go round, I don't know whether she's going to approve me to go or not because of COVID. So all of those factors, I will keep you all posted and let you all know. But yeah, pretty much right now it's a to be determined. I don't know. What's another question I have been asked? Oh, do you want a boy or a girl? Of course, we have one of each already, so this will be the last. Let's throw that out here. Shop closed after this. This is the last. So this will be the tiebreaker. Honestly, of course, I want happy and healthy. Any parent wants that. I wouldn't mind another boy. Janelle is a piece of work. She is feisty. She wants things it's her way or the highway. She is very high maintenance. She is a diva. So, I think I want another little boy. I mean, I say Deuce is rough too. Deuce is busy. He flips all over the place, and kids are just busy. But I think I wouldn't mind having another boy. I think Janelle is in a category of her own, and it'd be nice just to have her as the only princess in the house. Am I having a gender reveal? I am going to have something small with the immediates that I've been around the entire pandemic. My dad, my brother, my in-laws, and the godparents. That's pretty much it. I'm not having, usually we have these big to-do gender reveals. Deuce's was at my god sister's house. Janelle's was at my brother's house, and we make a big deal of it. And it's not that I don't want to make a big deal with this one. It's just being around people make me itch because I get nervous and I don't know where people have been and all of that stuff. So, Veronica gave me the idea. She said we've had our turn with revealing the gender. With Deuce, we had an acrylic baseball. So what was it? My mother-in-law threw the acrylic baseball to Jeremy for him to hit, and it had the blue powder in it. And then me and my brother opened a box of balloons at the same time. And then with Janelle, we had a big black balloon that had pink confetti in it. And the godparents also had like these cannons that shot out pink confetti and stuff too. So Veronica gave me the idea. She was like, well, you all have had your turn with revealing. You guys need to let the kids do it. So she gave me the suggestion of getting a cake and letting the kids go crazy with the cake and have the gender in the inside of the cake. I have an appointment on January 11th for my monthly appointment. And at that time, I'm going to get more blood work done. Oh, Jesus. This one is for genetic testing. And that's just because I am almost at 35. It's not mandatory at this point, but I'm just choosing to do so. And with that blood test, it also provides you with the gender. They send that one out to a different lab, and I'm told that it takes about a week to come back. So the fun part is going to be I have a portal where all of my results come in. So I have to like hurry up and like forward all of that stuff to Veronica, because Veronica's the keeper of the gender, and delete it so that I won't be able to see it, because I want to be surprised when everybody else finds out. But nevertheless, I'm gonna probably go live on Facebook during the reveal, and then also I'll be doing a recording so that I can post a video on here on the channel. I think those are the top questions that people have asked me. Oh, another one. Do we have names picked out for a boy or girl? Nope. Me and Jeremy can't come to an agreement. Of course, we've got plenty of time for it, but we do know that we want to keep the J going. It was coincidence that both of us had a J. It is a family tradition on Jeremy's side of the family that the firstborn son is a namesake. And then I wanted to keep it going with Janelle. And even Jeremy rolled his eyes because, with Janelle, he didn't even want to keep with the J. And I'm like, the three of us are, have the J. How do we not keep it going? And even the dog got a J. My dog's name is Jordan. And he was named before we got him. So everybody in the house is a J. We got to keep this thing going. So, but we cannot come to an agreement with the name. So, no, we don't have a name yet. I think those are the top questions. So far as... That was Deuce dropping the remote, y'all. How am I feeling right now? Still tired as all get out. I don't think that the fatigue ever goes away. Other than that, I'm feeling pretty good. Still have to like kind of take my time doing stuff because I get tired quickly. I am bummed, like I said, that this we can't seem to get it under control with this virus. They have now gone back to stricter restrictions at the hospital. So I just found out the later part of last week that no one is allowed at doctor's visits anymore. I am utterly pissed at that because Jeremy never misses an appointment. He missed the first appointment with this one because of work, and it was absolutely no way that he could get off. But other than that, unless there's some type of work emergency or something like that, he has always been at every single appointment. So now he can't come to any. So I'm hoping that the doctor will be more flexible with regards to me FaceTiming or recording the visits so that he doesn't miss anything, especially those visits where I get an ultrasound, because I don't want him to miss anything. COVID sucks. Hopefully things will be better by July, and they can loosen up on the restrictions. But as of now, like I said, no visitors on the outpatient side. No one can accompany you. And then when you actually go in for labor and delivery, you're allowed only one support person. And then if you have a doula, they have to approve like in advance. And you can have a doula, but the doula has to show all of their paperwork and credentialing and all of that stuff. So I'm pissed about that because I normally have my full support system. I told you I named all the people that were there for Deuce's birth. With Janelle, we had a photographer, which is a good friend of mine. She took pictures from the start to the finish. Of course, it was Jeremy, my cousin who is my doula, and then my godmother and my dad were able to like rotate out and stuff like that. So I'm going to be, not saying that, my doula doesn't do the trick or Jeremy doesn't do the trick, but I am going to miss having that big support system if things don't change by July. So that's pretty much it. I know this is a super long vlog, but I wanted to get those questions answered. And like I said, do the little story time with you guys. And just give you a little bit of updates of what's going on. So I'm at the point now where I'm seeing the doctor monthly. And then eventually, as it gets closer, I'll start going every 2 weeks. And then when it gets really close, I'll go every week. So there'll be a ton of vlogs about that. For those who have subscribed because of cruising, please don't go anywhere. Stay a part of this journey with me. I'm still going to be a cruiser, whether it be in March or whether it be, after I have the baby and once things are a little bit more improved with regards to the COVID and rates and all of that stuff. But please stay along with me with this journey. And thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys in the next vlog. Bye.